So this is part 2 of the video 3 of the series Mastering Chromebook and Google Drive. At this point, we have created the basic slides, or Joe has created his basic slides for his presentation, and now he wants to add some interesting things. Notice that Joe got his content down first. He didn't start immediately playing, because the priority is to get the information down. Once you get all of your information down, you can start kind of playing around with things. So, one thing we want to do, Joe realizes, whoops, back on slide 2, I forgot to add a piece of information. So in order to do that, he just clicks back on that slide, and he is going to simply add in do assignments completely. Okay, so he adds that in. Now we're going to go back to the first slide here, and kind of just glancing at that, it seems pretty boring. And let's go into present. Take a look at this. Yeah, that's pretty boring. Boring, boring, uber boring. So let's add some transitions. Joe's going to go to his first slide. And if he's clicked in a text box, again, he cannot find the general format. What's happened? So instead, you want to make sure that no text is, none of the text boxes are being used. And then you find those options, okay? And we want to get to transition. Right now it has no transition. So at this point we get to play a little. Let's take a look at what happens with the fade. That was boring. All right, let's try flip. Oh, okay, that made me a little bit seasick. We're not using that one. Slide from right. Okay, that'll work because you want your slide, your transition, to fit with the type of presentation you're doing. If you're doing a super exciting presentation, then you could totally do that flip. But for this is very professional and serious and academic. So you want to stick with that. So we're going to go with the slide from right. And I'm going to click out of there and go to stop, and then I'm going to apply it to all slides. So all the slides will transition the same. You do not want to have different transitions between different slides. It is not professional. It is just irritating. Okay, as fun as it may be, you can have fun on your time. This is a professional slide. So all your slides need to transition the same. Now the next thing we're going to do is add an in-slide transition. Okay. So let's say that Joe's over here and he goes to his third slide and he decides, I want to make these transitions. Well, right now transition's not up, so he's going to bring up transitions. And right now it's just for the whole slide. But if Joe clicks on the text box, now he gets a different transition option, different animation option. He's going to go to add animation. And we already know that fade in was kind of boring. So let's try spin. Oops. And we're going to play it. No. And it's set to on click. So, oh yeah, no. No. That's just weird looking. So we're not doing that. Let's try zoom in. It's on click. Oh yeah, that works, that totally works. Okay, so notice how quickly I'm making these decisions. Again, solving world hunger does not depend on which transition you pick. This should be fast decisions, fast. And we want to have the same transition for each of our slides. So this one has zoom in, so this one will have zoom in. Oops, nope, I want to get rid of that one. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to zoom in. Okay, now we're going to play this. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, transition to that slide and just hit enter and enter. All right, well that's pretty nice, but I don't want them to see all of that. So I'm going to highlight. So Joe, not I. I want to slow it down a little bit because I want to be able to pace it to what I'm going to say. So now instead of just on click and everything shows up, it's going to go by paragraph. Okay, we highlight that, And it's on paragraph. Okay. All right, so what does that look like now? That's what it looks like to move to the new slide. Hit enter. Notice how now the information is at Joe's pace. So as he talks about each item, it comes up. And it's not confusing or overwhelming or make anyone dizzy or feel like they're going to throw up. Okay. All right, so we're going to stop that. Now, we've added transitions between slides. We've added a transition in slide. Now what we want to do is add a picture. Because this slide right here is pretty boring and it's got this huge space over here. So we're just going to add ourselves a picture. We're going to go to that little insert image and we go to search. Now you'll notice when you do a search that a lot of stuff is blocked. Well, that's a great filter that we have. So if it's blocked, you can't use it. However, you do want to find a cool picture. Remember, you only want to use a maximum of 2 pictures per slide unless your teacher has told you differently. You don't want to clutter up your presentation with all these pictures. So Joe needs to find a picture that goes along with that slide. It can't be a picture of a puppy because it has nothing to do with in class. So it's about in class, so we're just going to use the word classroom. Let's see what we get. We get a bunch of different stuff. Okay, let's go with that one. So notice I just click on it and it gets a check mark. So it knows it's selected, and now I just hit select. Well, that's cool. I like it, but it's awfully big and it's kind of in the middle of my slide and now blocking my text. So we're going to use our keypads. Okay, so what I want to do is go over to this corner. Okay. Now I'm going to hold down with my left finger while my right finger slowly scrolls this down to a decent size. And now I can either hold and move it, or I can use my arrow keys to move it. Ooh, now I can make it bigger. There we go. All right, that looks fabulous. So now we've added transitions and inserted a picture. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and add one type of transition between your slides, add a transition in one of your slides, and add at least one picture to one of your slides. No more than 2 pictures per slide. Don't clutter it up. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and pause the video. Oh, keep in mind, once you're finished, you can help your neighbor or do silent reading or the review activity. This is not chatting time. Again, I am super mean, I know. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. So at this point, Joe has completed all of the required elements. He's gotten his information down, he's added a picture, he's added transitions. Check, check. And he did not mess around with the fonts, font color, font size, anything like that. So at this point, Joe wants to just check his presentation. And this is important because there are times where the text moves itself around. And I don't know why. Oh, by the way, when you do a presentation, make sure you don't leave your pointer in the middle. You've all experienced that. It's irritating, so always bring it down. So I'm going to transition. Oops, I didn't start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. That happens too. It starts on the slide that you highlighted. So here's Joe's first slide. We probably could have added a picture there, but that's okay. Now we have at home. All right, looks good. So now Joe's going to exit out of that. And Joe now wants to turn this into his language arts teacher. So he's going to go back to his Google Drive, which is that tab right there, and he's going to go to his handouts folder. Go back to that URL. Clicking on that URL. Puts in his first name, last name, period. Again, he's looking for his assignment, plan for success slides. None of those. All right. And he wants to go over to his presentation and copy the URL, paste it, click, and submit. Okay, so he has turned in his assignment. Now let's say at this point that Joe goes, oh my gosh, I totally forgot something. Remember, Joe can fix stuff because it hasn't been graded yet, but he doesn't have to resubmit the assignment. He just turns it in one time. Remember, always sign out before returning your Chromebook so no one can mess with your stuff. You sign out by going to the lower right corner of your screen, clicking on the time, and it'll pull up settings, and you sign out from there.